year, just spending moments of just gratitude. And I really want to give a shout out to our friends at Vesta. Thank you for hosting, and um, just a moment to say thank you for saying yes to all my crazy ideas. Like, if you have been involved in any of these photos, you know we've had a little bit of fun in the past year, and that fun, of course, is open to all. And let's see. I'm sorry about the Zoom drawing on the screen. I'm not sure how that happened, but I just think we are so lucky to be in this community of people, to have people like Melissa and Keith. Just they are there to support our community and to help lift us all. And I just could not be more thankful for this group. So huge shout out to Keith, to Melissa, Alex, Andrea, Allison, Cassandra, Karen, Ron, you guys, it's just such a joy to get to work with you every day. So I shouldn't say every day, like I do try to leave you alone a bit, but most days. And I know the rest of our community feels that way too. So thank you
Thank you,
for
Sam.
being you and being so supportive. Everyone, the early birds got 2 entries to win a prize. If you've just joined, you can still enter. So by texting me on my cell, 703-919-5875. Just send me your contact information. We've got 2 drawings. One is a signed book by Jen Sincero, and the other is an Amazon gift card. So text me so you'll have your entry. Everyone before 10:05 gets 2 entries to win 2 prizes. Now and later is 1 prize. So feel free to enter. If we had been in person, we would have loved to have seen you and been able to trade business cards and the sort. But here we are, digital snow day. Love the flexibility of Zoom. Don't love that we had someone in color all over our screens. Alex did a great job of introducing me, but I am a loan officer first and foremost. But I also know that by helping our real estate community to be more successful, we're all more successful. Your loan officers, your title companies, your house cleaners, dog walkers, everyone's more successful when you as a real estate agent are successful. When I stepped into this marketplace trying to figure out how I could help the most, I heard a lot of, we love Atlantic Coast Mortgage, we love the Tunador Group, we need more business, right? And a lot of the conversation was around, how do we get better at social media so we can convert more business? How do we lead generate? And I was, I can help there. Lead generation is literally my blood type. And social media is something I've been mastering for the past 14 years and have been along through all the iterations. My personality type tends to be more of a visionary, and I tend to say yes to things first. And I see trends before they happen, and have been very involved from a social media standpoint. So I hope I can add extra value to you. I see some clear annotation. Chloe's sending us some instructions on how to get rid of the coloring. Maybe Alex has got that covered. So today, as we spend the next 50 minutes together, my hope is to give you some tiny adjustments. You're already doing a lot of things right. Sometimes it's just a little tiny adjustment that will help improve your business exponentially. And our job in real estate is lead generation. And sometimes it just doesn't feel really good. Like, we don't like the lead generation tactic, so we don't do it. And then our business goes down. Or if we don't do it consistently, we have dips that we don't like in our business. So if you could find ways to do it more consistently, make it simpler, make it more affordable, have better results, I think we like our business more, right? So I want to share 3 lead generation or farming ideas that maybe you haven't thought of. To me, that I felt like they were really obvious, but as I talk to people, they're like, no, I didn't know that. I just need that tiny little adjustment to improve my business. So I think, for example, one of the first areas we'll cover is Instagram. Finding your ideal client, right? Is the goal to go viral and get a ton of views, or is the goal to find that ideal client and convert business? You want to build that relationship and convert business, right? So maybe it's more about the quality of the follower versus the quantity. And the second thing we'll talk about is virtual pop buys. Really, social media is one huge pop buy that's open all the time, but I want to talk about how to make it more specific and higher value so you connect better with the people you know. The third thing we'll talk about is like farming a new street, meeting 8 new neighbors or 10 new neighbors, or, becoming the person they think of. So they choose you first versus the other 12 real estate agents that might be within their network. And then also how you can use Facebook groups to be an expert and to be considered a go-to resource. I will tell you, all of these things are free. They're simple. They take seconds. And they have high connectivity to get you high results. Love our coloring. Oh boy. I'm such a perfectionist looking at the screen like this. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Early entry. Somehow we got some extra drawings here.
And hey, Sam,
yeah.
Chloe shared how to take it off. I tried, but as a co-host, it won't let me.
Yeah, it's this little, there's a little annotation tool in the bottom left. It's like a pencil. If you click that, you just press the trash can, but I think it has to be the person who drew it.
So you're all, yay, Chloe, you're the best. Thank you. Much happier now. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So when we think about all the people we know, we've had this joy of getting to meet them and connect with them on social media. The social media platform has been put in front of us, and whether that's Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, whichever platform you're on, you've got this place where you've just had this opportunity to collect all of your friends in one room. And everyone you know is a lead. They just fall somewhere in between being a hot lead, warm, and cold. And 20% of everyone you know should really be in those warm leads, because they're going through what we call the Ds, right? They're getting diamonds, diapers, divorce, dissatisfaction, downsizing, death, all the things that are happening in their life that would put them in that warm section. And when they're warm, that's when they're making decisions about what they're going to do. And that includes choosing you as a real estate agent. And when they get into the hot, it's that, they have a time frame in mind. They've been pre-qualified. They've committed to working with you, right? So we tend to work in the hot area. That's the obvious, but the most valuable area to be nurturing and growing our business is the warm area, and paying some close attention with a drip email campaign to the cold to get them to the warm, or catching them and to bring them into the warm area. And I think if you think about all those people you know, whether it's in your CRM, your phone contacts, your social media platform, none of your relationships are standing still. Nothing is frozen. They're either warming up to you or they're cooling down to you and or your business, right? So you're constantly wanting to warm them up, introduce, build more trust, build more relationship with everyone you know. And I think in the end, if you know thousands of people, it's not about all thousands of people warming up to you. It's about finding 100 people that are really warm to you and become raving fans and are talking about you when you're not in the room, right? That they're referring people to you. So it's sorting through the hundreds or thousands of people you know to find your 100 raving fans. But you have this wide open platform, a silver tray full of people who've already raised their hand saying they're connected to you. Tell me more. So that's social media. Those connections that are all digital now let you amplify your relationships for free. If you think about social media for lead generation, how we used to be social for lead generation, and sometimes still are, is networking events. It used to look like exclusively in person, and it took time and money to go to lunches and breakfast, various different events. And might still have a time and place now, but is it your simplest and easiest? Not necessarily. We shifted over the years to, if I get interested in my hobbies, I can meet more people, right? Because the more people you know and the more people you're having conversations with about real estate, the more business that's going to come to you. So we found ways to do things like pickleball or gym memberships, walking clubs, alongside maybe the presence of virtual groups, where we had the opportunity to meet someone new in person, and made it a goal to add them to our social network and our CRM, our relationship management, so that we could move our business forward with them. And I think, let's just simplify it. Can I give you ideas on how you can meet people quickly on social media for free and start adding them to your CRM, right? Do you think of social media as a high value area to meet new people? I hope to show you how it really can be. So the first idea I'm going to share with you is finding your ideal client on Instagram. And I think normal is to hear, go create content, create reels, and people will see you, right? There'll be more visibility, and visibility creates familiarity. But if you lean in and just hear this for a quick second, your connection is more important than your content. Are you connecting with people? While I create reels and I create content, I highly value the connection side. And I want to show you how to get better at connecting, because you can create all the content in the world, but if you don't take time to connect, it's not going to work. Or you'll be really lucky if it does. It'll be rare if it works. So there's a couple things you can do when it comes to landing on your social media, and this applies everywhere: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I pulled Instagram profile as an example. As a real estate agent, it has to be really clear that you're a realtor. It needs to be location specific. I can't tell you how many times I, find a new real estate agent to follow and I cannot figure out where they work. It needs to be public, right? You're a public facing figure. You need to engage. And it's not necessarily about creating engaging content. You need to be engaging with people, connecting with them. You have this opportunity right now through your newsletters or at your events, your open houses, where you can connect with them on social media. You can have a scan code that says, follow my social media to learn the 3 best restaurants in this area, right? You want to connect with people past the moment they're standing in front of you. If you go to a holiday party, you meet some new people, somebody takes a photo of the group, they tag everyone on social, I hope you're friending them, because otherwise you have to wait till next year and hope you get an invite back. And then you have to start again with a small talk in a year. Where if you connect with people when you actually meet them in person or online, and you continue that friendship through a social media channel, you amplify that relationship. I'm sure there are some of you on here that we know through social media that you feel like you know me better because of social media versus the last time I saw you in person. I hope you get to the point where you walk into a place and people feel like they already know you, or they come up to you and want to give you a hug, even though you've not met before, because they already feel comfortable with you. And I bet in your social media scroll, it's a lot of realtors. Am I right? You can share in the comments, mostly realtors. That's probably because you're mostly talking about real estate and you're not curating a scroll of your ideal client. I want to help you curate a scroll of your ideal client. And I think if you think about where should you be spending your time in creating content, think about reels. They're a video that creates familiarity. They are a great opportunity to prospect and meet new people and build trust. But if I had to choose my time on social media, I would be using stories because they relationship build. And we're in a relationship business. Now, it's transactional if you're paying for the lead. It's relationship if you're earning the lead through your connections and through your outreach, your engagement, right? We are in a relationship business. Dawn Tallis was telling me that what's converting for her is being her authentic self, being her real self on social. And I think sometimes we have to find that voice, right? What does that look like for you? What does your voice look like? And if you're speaking only about real estate, you're going to find a lot of realtors, versus if you're talking about things that are important to you, like redoing your basement and redoing a cabinet to make it your bar, as Dawn did on social media, you are more relatable. People are going to create more conversations with you, right? So it's changing your conversation to be what you're actually doing in your day. And if it's 100% real estate that day, your conversation's 100% real estate. If it's, if it's about walking the dog, it's about walking the dog. Here is the most important place on social media and any channel, Instagram, Facebook. It is the top of the screen on the right side here, the stories, the heart, the messenger. And if you want to get the right people in your scroll, you want to go follow the followers. You want to prospect. You want to meet new people and get hyper local followers. And this is my hack on how to do it. You want to go to your hyper local coffee shop that you enjoy going to, your pickleball club, River Creek Country Club, McLean Moms Group, Tally Ho Theater. What things do you like doing locally? Piedmont, tennis club, whatever it might be that you do, they have an Instagram profile. And this is a great place to prospect. You just simply go to their followers of the things that you're doing and that you're sharing on social media. When I walk into Cowbell Kitchen, there's a story of me walking in. I dress my dog like a cow. I take a photo. They reshare it, which is great. And maybe I get a follower or two that way, but I post that I'm drinking a London Fog and what I like about it and what I bought in their shop. And then when I go follow their followers look at my wall and go, oh, she's relatable. It looks like she lives local. We have friends in common. I was just at Cowbell Kitchen. That's one of my favorite places also. We all of a sudden have things in common, like you would if you walked into a networking event and looked for someone who had on cute shoes, just like you do, right? So it's a place to build things in common. And if you start focusing on hyper local followers, people that are following what you follow them, they're going to land on your page and choose to follow you or not. If you look spammy or like you're trying to sell them something, they're probably not going to follow you. But if you look like you're sharing things that are of similar common interest, they're going to follow you. And then you have this beautiful opportunity to build a relationship from your couch at 6 a.m. or your 2 a.m. scroll or at noon or when you're on the potty, wherever you are when you're scrolling, because people are scrolling for hours a day. They're going to end up here in the top right in your stories or in your scroll. My favorite part of Instagram, and this also applies to Facebook, is the top of the page. It's the notifications, the stories, the messenger, because that's where you're building relationships. When you get to a point where you have a lot of people conversing with you, there are tools like ManyChat that can help respond and get them to your various tools you're sharing. But for the time being, you have 2 seconds or 20 seconds to engage in a conversation and build that relationship forward. If you're not, somebody else is. So I think about the people I meet there on my social media channels as part of my CRM. I would rather know their favorite coffee shop or what type of wine they drink versus their email address. And I'm sorry, my screen's a little covered here. When you go to the top right, stories, every time you watch someone else's story and they share about their kids sledding or the flowers they got at the market or what they wore to an event, there's an opportunity for you to message at the bottom. And that is where you start small talk that builds to big talk. Right? By me asking Kelly, where did you get this green dress? And complimenting her, that makes her feel good. She responds. I end up in her messages. And that's where we're building that relationship. Building relationships is a very high value use of your time. When you land on your Instagram or Facebook, or you look at your text or your emails, when you're getting quality messages back, you should see your notifications and your messenger lighting up. Like, I want you to be so excited when there's 30 notifications and 6 messages each time you open it up, because this is you building your relationship forward. You want to light those notifications up. You can do things like scan codes to invite new followers to follow you. If you scan this one, I think that's going to take you to my Instagram page. You want to always be inviting people into the places where you are hanging out. You want to use a social media channel that you like, and then find your authentic voice so you have more opportunity to connect. This, and I feel like every time I sit down with a real estate agent and loan officers, we're all a little bit guilty of it. When they open up their Instagrams, I'm like, oh, I just tagged you in a photo. There's so many notifications and messages they've been ignoring. This is where you build your business. This is where you convert real business. And I had reached out to an agent not too long ago about, hey, I'm coming down to Blacksburg. I have a lot of conversations with parents about wanting to buy homes in their college town. I'd love to interview you, put you on a podcast, and let's start creating content so I can get you a lot of referrals. She didn't respond. And I gave her a week's notice. And then the day before I was leaving, I messaged her again, like, any chance you'll catch this? I might be hungover tomorrow, but I'd still love to interview you. 2 weeks later, she finally responded to me. My husband looked at me and said, you're not going to refer her any business, right? I'm like, of course not. So you've got to be connecting where you're sharing contact information. And friends, it does not work for a third party to do this. If a third party does this, it's like somebody else walking into the party for you and trying to have conversations on your behalf. It's like somebody else walking down the aisle for you. This is not a place where you build a relationship with a third party. It's got to be you. If you spend your time up in stories and in Messenger, you will create business. The content you create just helps you build more connections, right? More things to talk about, more things in common. The message I have over here on the right, this is somebody from high school that I don't think I talked to in high school, and 30 years later, I still hadn't talked to them. I took a moment to send them a video birthday message. Nice little conversation with them, stalks my wall. Everybody is stalking your walls to make sure you're legit and normal, right? Decides, oh wait, you're a mortgage broker? Our family needs a mortgage broker, right? I didn't even have to lead with business. And this is because 90% of people are scrolling and consuming. They're spending a lot of a time just scrolling and taking a look at what you're sharing. And they don't feel like they're in the real estate market, right? Only 9% are scrolling and engaging, and 1% are creating. So I would encourage you to be a creator and an engager. It's definitely better to connect, spend more time connecting than you do creating, and be in that top 10% that's doing those things to convert more business on social, because it's a free place and everybody's been served on a silver platter right in front of you. I hope you're finding this helpful. That was your first idea and helpful information, hopefully. If you have just joined us, you have an opportunity to enter to win our big prize. Text me your contact information at 703-919-5875, and we'll get you entered to win. And then number 2, I don't think most people know about this one. I'm curious what you think of virtual pop buys. When I think about social media, to me, it's a full-time pop buy. Is my video going to play? No, it's not going to play. I'll explain to you what it is. Instagram green screen is a huge tool for me to create content and communicate with people and stay connected with them. Stay connected with people that are in my CRM in a high value, no cost way. I connect with them around things about location, things I see that makes me think of them. Like if I see peonies, I take a picture of them and I send them to a friend who loves peonies. Hey, I saw these and thought of you. The location idea of the video says, Bill and Sue, I have clients that are considering Lovettsville. They're concerned about the drive to Dulles Airport in DC. I know you were also. I'm curious how you feel now that you live there. And I'll send them, I've saved a photo of a map. I do a little green screen with me in front of them. I send it to them via text. They respond back. They feel valued because I value their opinion. They feel connected to me. They thought of me. I now have a third party justification, not just Waze or my own research, for my current clients to connect. And that one didn't work either. I have had an opportunity to touch them virtually in a very personal way. Doing a green screen pop by, virtual pop by, takes me 20-30 seconds to create. I do it up in the stories on Instagram. If you need a specific lesson on this, I do have it, where I add the media, I shrink myself down, I create the video, I save it. I don't post it to social media. I save it into my images, and then I text it to Bill and Ann or Bill and Sue or whoever my clients are. And it's an engaging pop by that costs me nothing other than 20-30 seconds time. Most pop buys are a lot of work, right? The creativity, the shopping, the put together, the delivery, and then they end up in the trunk of the car and they roll around and get dog-eared and then end up on the garage floor dusty until your other half says, should I throw these away? And I do love a good pop by. Don't get me wrong, I do love a good pop by, but I can do virtual pop buys more than faster. I can do 1 a minute. I can get 10 done in 10 minutes. I can get 60 done in an hour. On the right, I'm popping by I'm popping pie. My gluten-free friends, I would have pulled a gluten-free pumpkin pie recipe, an image photo from Pinterest. I would have popped in and said, Danielle, I found this recipe. I tested it. I love it. I'd love to send it your way. Are you baking this holiday season? Right? I've thought about her. If you sent me a Starbucks card, I would feel like you didn't know me, right? Because I don't like Starbucks. You have to keep dragging me in there, kicking and screaming, basically. So if you can add to your CRM what is of interest to people, if you can be more interested in people and have reasons to connect with them, you're going to provide more value. These virtual pop buys are so easy, and they're such feel-good moments for you and your past clients, your friends, your connections. And for me, I want to add people into my CRM based on what's of interest to them. You know, if schools are of interest and I find a good article about schools, I would share that with them. And adding them to my CRM with something that's important to them is more important to me than having their email or their mailing address. It's not that I won't eventually get there, but I want to have conversations around family, occupation, recreation, dreams, theirs, not mine. Finding reasons to connect with them is just, I don't know, it's just joyful, right? I hope you all feel better too when I do things like that. So do you like the pop by idea? Virtual pop by idea? Trying to make sure I'm catching any comments or notes here. That's something, I'm good. I'm glad you love it. Yay. Yay, good. And I still do mailers. I still do a lot of touch. If you get to know me, I'm probably the most high touch person you know, and I honestly don't love hugging, but I'm going to hug you for 20 seconds. So the more touch, the more value. Oh, good, Michelle. I'm glad you love it. All right, this one. Let's take over a street. I don't know about you, but I have lived in my house for 23, 24 years. February will be 24 years. And I got to the point with turnover in the community, I really didn't know my neighbors. And if I were to look up and down the road, I felt like, I don't know these people. I sure do want them to know what I do, that I'm a loan officer. And my friend Chrissy, we were having this conversation and she's like, yeah, but nobody in your neighborhood moves. There's only 3 houses in the past year. I thought, okay, don't we want that business? And more importantly, as I started talking to a neighbor, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I don't know what my immediate 5 neighbors do, like have a vague idea, but I want to know more about them. I want to make sure they know what I do. But as I started talking to an immediate neighbor who is not going to move, like I'm not going to let them move. They're not going to move. I'm not moving. Nobody's moving. But when we started doing the math and counting up the number of people in their immediate family that would be making moves because of the Ds, diamonds, diapers, divorce, all, you know, downsizing, whatever it might be, there was 27 moves in the next 1 to 10 years ahead of us. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be able to refer out those 27 potential moves to the real estate agents in my circle. I love that I get to connect with them and help provide value and be a resource for them and their 27 family members. They've got 5 kids. There's so many cousins, everybody around. Like, I don't want them to move, but I want to be in connection with those 27 people in their household that are moving. So we started through a couple different conversations, and are any of you ninja fans, any ninja selling fans here? I said it earlier, I'm high touch. I'm probably ninja amplified for sure. I felt like I wanted everyone in the street to know what I was doing. And I gathered a group of agents based on ninja selling core principles in chapter 2 let me share a quick story with you. Colorado Springs, a third-party survey company reached out to a community in Colorado Springs and made those phone calls and said, if you were to move, what real estate agent would you use? And they collected all of that information. And of course, there was a top producer at the top and then a smattering of other agents and a couple undecided. And then for the next 8 weeks, they provided content that was of value, sent it to those homes in that community once a week for 8 weeks straight. That content had a pretend real estate office, a fictitious agent. They made it all up, provided value though for 8 weeks straight. And at the end of the 8 weeks, they called that same group of homeowners up and said, who would you use as a real estate agent if you had to buy or sell? The majority came back with that fictitious agent. That was now the person who was providing the most value to them. A few still said that top producer, but the majority came back with a fictitious agent. What do we learn from that? You can change someone's mind in as little as 8 weeks. You can be their go-to person. You can be the person they choose. So I worked with a group of agents here, and we came up with what would our 8 weeks look like? How would we be high touch? We all decided we wanted it to be really low cost, if not, no cost. We wanted it to be low effort, but get high results. And let me share with you what we did. How do you take over a street? And this could be any street, but I would start with one closest to you. We looked at how we could do 8 highly relationship and high value touches over 8 weeks. What could we do that would be duplicatable and we could keep doing it for very little cost? I partnered with Chrissy Goodrum. We're still in this project where it's so much fun. And we started with handwritten notes and hand delivered them to the houses. It was cheaper than a stamp to do this. It was a little bit of effort, but we're doing 10 houses at a time. You can write 10 notes in an hour and deliver them in an hour. We all need to go out for a walk anyway, right? We decided not to put our business cards in there and just connect as neighbors and friends. And then the next week, we decided we did not want to write again. We printed out a recipe for bread that we happened to make at our house. And we went and bought 33-cent packets of yeast and we stuffed them in there and we taped those to the door the next week. And each week we've said, we'll see you next week with something else. And then the next week we invited them to come use the bathrooms and get some hot cider at the Christmas tree lighting, the downtown holiday lighting. And then the next week we took photos of us inviting them to a Facebook group, right? So we've created an Old Waterford and Old Neighbors Facebook group. And we not only took these to their doors and taped them on the doors, but we put them on the lamppost. And I am so excited. I have made new friends on my own street. I have new contacts. Now, what's a little discouraging is 2 of them like, we just moved. I'm like, darn it, why didn't I do this last year? Why didn't I do this earlier? But you can do this on any street. And we created the 8 reach outs that are low to no cost. We have $50 in this project. And happy to share it with you. I think it could be personalized for any street. But what we have done is we've built very fast relationships. We are making new friends faster than ever. And we're finding them in a place, bringing them to a place where we can collect them and continue that relationship. So just giving you some ideas here. You cannot take this all on and do it today. I do have a Facebook group. It's a private realtor Facebook group where I share this content. I can tag you in it when you're ready to do it. Here's the thing about moving your business forward. It's little steps each day. It's getting 1% better each day so that in 100 days, you're 100% better. We did 10 houses for 8 weeks, and then you can start layering it, doing as many as you want. Feedback we've received, well, number one, we've been building friendships. We've heard from people what moves they're making. One of the ones I really love, she had just moved here. It was really important to her to be in the school district. She'd moved from another for her child's needs. And what it occurred to me is she probably knows a lot of other people that are in that class that have a similar need. So we're in a relationship building stage right now. And it's been all incredibly positive. We haven't received anything negative. We did not lead full business first. This week, we're mailing out a card with the actual real estate stats and Sotheby's contact information and my contact information as a lender. But we're connecting with them, like in the Facebook group, for example. It's just Saturday shares. What fun things are going on, or what things do you need to get rid of in your house? Like, it's community specific things. So it's been really great feedback so far. And I can't wait to just take over another street. So what we found from it is new local friendships. It's been low effort for minimal out of pocket. We're culminating it into a local Facebook group where you can stay regularly connected as our new preferred real estate agent. And then just repeat the next set of homes. If you need this whole list of things to do, I've got it. I'll make sure you have access to it. I think you have my phone number now. Text me the word list if you need that specifically. But it's definitely a conversation I'm happy to keep open with you and help you with words to say. When we couldn't find our words to say, we'd use ChatGPT. It was just, there's so many great resources, right? All right, just as a reminder, we have 2 prize giveaways. As everybody gets entered into the second prize, just text me your contact information, 703-919-5875. How are we doing on timing? All right, our 4th one. I think we're doing pretty well on timing. Facebook groups. Do you know someone who has a really great Facebook group? Are you a little envious of it? There's some really great ones going around, but I want you to know there is so much room for more. So I think of that social media farming. I hope you have multiple Facebook groups. They're so easy to run, low cost. It's a great way to build leads. And if you need a Facebook group, I create them all the time, and I just need other people to be the admins. So they're typically, from a real estate standpoint, area specific, right? Old Waterford Knoll neighbors, Northwest Leesburg neighbors. You can create lots of them and just start funneling people into them, and then create pretty much the same content for each one. You should definitely have a group that's friends, family, and clients, because they spend more time scrolling Facebook than they do reading your email newsletters, right? If the newsletter is really passive and fast and quick and gets to a lot of people, absolutely do it. Sure, I have that going on too, but more high touch is a Facebook group. 80% of people that belong to a group, either in person or online, say that they like their Facebook groups the most. You should be hosting a Facebook group where you provide high value information. And it might be for your friends and family group. How long does a garage door last? When does it need to be replaced? Who are my go-to people? If I need to have my floors cleaned, who's my go-to carpet cleaner? You should be interviewing your carpet cleaner in that group. You should be providing resources in a Facebook group. It's much more high touch than a newsletter. You can co-host a group. Meet 703 and host it with your Vesta person and your loan officer, and you 3 create content, right? Meet Round Hill, meet Percival. Where can you talk about things forever, right? Your groups, public or private, depends on the group. Happy to hash that out with you. And then you could also engage in local groups. Most real estate agents are kind of keeping other realtors out of their groups. So if there are groups that are hosted by other companies, you could certainly engage there. But for the most part, as an agent, you want to host your groups. 2 groups I host, for example, I host a private group. It's hidden. I don't want consumers to see the conversations we're having about how you can sell more homes to them. I have a private group. You are welcome as a real estate agent to join. We continue these conversations there. And it is, for me, building new relationships with more real estate agents. As a real estate agent, I'm not sure private groups are the best, but it depends on what you're doing with it. I also host a Maine, if you know the restaurant, the Lost Kitchen in New England, Maine, Maine. I host a fan page. I love that restaurant. I love Maine. I host a fan page. In the past 1.5 years, it's grown to 9,400 members. Do you know what I talk about in there? Real estate. Do you know how many people want to sell their home wherever they're living to move to Maine? It's the #1 state people are moving to right now. I have tons of real estate conversations there. Yes, I'm licensed there. I can do mortgages there, but I can refer a lot of business around because of it. It's just something that's of interest to me that I can relate back to real estate. So Facebook is an incredible place to host groups, your local walking group, your parents group, whatever it might be, where you can be the local expert. It takes very little time. It can be done off time. You can actually have a third party create content for you as long as you're the person communicating and connecting. I'm curious if you want to share in the chats. Do you all have a favorite Facebook group, or do you host one? All right, we just gave you 4 ideas for modern ways to lead generate. It was the Instagram, finding your ideal content. Finding your ideal client by following the followers. Virtual pop buys, somebody did one with Snapchat yesterday. Snapchat has a green screen filter, Instagram does, having reasons to touch people virtually. Farming a new street, making new best friends, making future clients in 8 short weeks, helping to change their mind, make them use you versus someone else. And then, of course, Facebook expert groups. My tips to you on social is kind of like walking into a room where there's a party going on. You're going to be social, not salesy, right? If you walked into a room and you were wearing your t-shirt that says, "I'm a realtor," would you sit down in the corner and say nothing? Or would you walk into that room and start conversations with people? You can be a real estate agent on social media, but you want to be more social than you are salesy. Be interested in them, and then you can seek to be interesting also. But if you're interested in them, it's going to go further because you can connect and build more relationships because you are in a relationship business. Treat social media like you're speaking to a specific friend. And then we like video because people believe video. It creates that familiarity, which builds trust and a community of raving fans when done consistently while adding value. This is us, the Tunador Group. As Alex said earlier, there's about 100 years of experience there in real estate, mortgage. We used to own a real estate company, grew up in a real estate family, not counting those years. Social media help. We are here to make you look really good. And we have an opportunity for you all to win prizes. So make sure you text me. And that's it. What questions do y'all have? We can unmute or.
So Sam, Melody Visser asked, how many houses did you pick for the 8 weeks? Sorry.
So I coached to 10. Chrissy, if you know Chrissy Goodrum, she's like, no, we're doing all 144. So she kicked my butt with 144 homes a week. And we were halfway into the week and writing those cards. And she's like, this sucks. I'm like, I know, I told you 10 is easier. 10 is manageable. I would say start with 10. If it's a condo building of 12 units, do 12 units. But start with 10 because 10 is manageable and you can hold yourself accountable. Maybe have a buddy who does the same and you work together with it. You can mail, you don't have to drop it off. I know Jessica Dean did it with us and she was like, I'm too rural. I have to mail, right? I wouldn't do Chloe's like can't do 253, right? But do 10, right? Do something versus nothing. It's a very simple project. And if you do 10 a week and then you get through those 10, 8 weeks later, add another 10 in. You will be building relationships that are valued and trust. You'll have new friends, which will turn into future business. In real estate, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's the most conversations wins, the most relationships wins, the most people thinking about you first wins, right? So I just felt like personally, I was not having conversations with everyone up and down my street, and that felt bad. So I started those conversations. And I'm moving them. I don't have to lead with real estate or mortgage because most of them don't want to talk about real estate or mortgage. You guys are a little bit luckier than we are. Of course, they're like, what's going on with the market? Or with us, it's rates. But generally, I want to get to know them so that they think of me first for their 27 family members that are going to be moving. So I will certainly pepper in real estate, but I want to lead with them first. What other questions?
Hi, Samantha. Good morning. It's Latoria. How are you?
Hi, Latoria. I'm good. How are you? Latoria and I are best friends.
Yes, we are. We need to meet for coffee soon, but I know the group doesn't want to hear this. So I wanted to ask if the recording will be available for us to listen to later, because this is a lot of valuable information. And I definitely want to right now do 2 of the 4 that you mentioned.
Yay. I do think we recorded.
We have, yep.
You never know with Zoom, but Latoria, I'm actually going to be teaching this next week to all the Century 21 offices. 3 different ones this week, the week after in Alexandria, and then also with NVAR Wednesday afternoon at Venture X, 1 p.m. So
Okay,
my first test run on this specific training.
Awesome. Well, in that case, I'll be at one of the other trainings that's coming up soon because this is great information. I want to hear it again.
Good. What other questions do y'all have? Which one did you like the most?
So for me, it was the pop by. That's genius, like the virtual pop by. So I'm on a team and we spend quite a bit of time. We do multiple pop by projects a year, and it consumes a lot of time driving around, and you have to account for traffic and all those things, all those variables. So I like the idea of a virtual pop by. It's easy, it's quick, it's a touch point. And honestly, it probably goes a little bit further than a physical, only because it's not always that a person is at home when you do the pop by. But if you do it virtually, then eventually you and the person will connect. And then it's a conversation starter and it continues on. Whereas with the physical one, most times the results that I get is my client will text me and be like, oh, thank you so much. I got your gift. And then, you know, we have a little chit chat back and forth at that moment. But I just feel like virtually it just offers a larger platform for more conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you like that one the most. I was with Michelle Graziani and I was showing her how to use stories and how to message, not just to post in stories, but to start connecting with people. And she opened her first one and it was this little girl. And I'm like, oh, who's that? Could you message them? She goes, oh, it's actually a past client. And they have indicated they're interested in moving in the future. And she wanted to go close it out. And I said, no, 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 no. You've got to stay there and comment. Because even when you comment and you end up in their DM, that's a virtual pop by, right? You've engaged. Her comment to her friend would have been, oh my gosh, she's getting so big. How did this happen? Next step college. Like, what are you all doing about this, right? Like for her opportunity to engage when that person posted there to get into that DM, which was so much more personal, that's a virtual pop by. I feel like when I go kind of and do that door knocking or dropping things off, I'm in a hurry. Like, I don't want them to answer. I don't actually want to stay and engage. It's kind of like making a phone call. You're like, please don't answer, please don't answer, please don't answer. I want a voicemail, right? The virtual pop by is so uninvasive, right? Because you can send it any time of day, especially if it's like through Messenger or text. And it's thoughtful, especially if you make it about them versus you. What other ones did you guys like? Oh my gosh, Melodies. I literally
Melody,
want
that's
to
wonderful.
drop. Yeah, I hope
I
these
get it.
ideas make it a little bit easier. I will tell you, going around to my neighborhood and doing the 8 weeks, there were some houses that I was like, oh, I hope they don't walk out the door right now as I'm sticking it to the door. It does sometimes feel a little uncomfortable. Of course, that ring video. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Cass.
Yeah.
I actually have my neighbor has a gorilla costume. I have been known to go door to door in the gorilla costume to deliver invitations. And it was before Ring doorbells, like 100%, put on your unicorn costume, whatever costume you have in your closet and go door to door. That will be so much fun on the Ring cameras. You will definitely get more attention. I love that. Always smile and
Yeah.
wave at the Ring. Yeah. I have been known to tape them to mailboxes, but I tell you what, that mailman was stalking me last time and I could not shake him no matter how fast or slow which way I turned. And he did stop and say, you know, this is a federal offense. I'm like, really? But then the funny thing was, a week or two later, he's out front dropping something off. He's like, how did it go? Did everyone join your Facebook group? I'm like, yes, 63 members so far. So I'm like, I really didn't want him to turn me into a federal offense, and I got a few more steps going up the driveways, but whew.
My biggest challenge that I face is I always want to start a Facebook group, but I don't want it to be like everybody else's. So what kind of tips do you have on, because everybody can post, you know, like the events, everyone can post your favorite shops, but how can I make it a little bit more authentic slash, like, what do people really like to see? Like, I know for me, I like to see like pictures. I'm a very visual person.
Mm-hmm. I think I would go with what you like because you're going to attract the right people, right? So, if knowing what you talk about, Jessica, I would, post a picture of the snow or ice on your road today. Post a fall picture, or I might do a garden swap. I've dug up these tiger lilies. They're at the end of my driveway. So on ours specifically, especially when it's neighborhood related, to be able to post like Saturday share just made sense to me because I hate having the Costco size bag of onions when I only need half. I just assume give them to neighbors. So somebody the other day posted their marshmallow skewers. Giving them a place to connect locally, I think is super helpful. And the nice thing about the scheduler in a group is you can do, What's Up Wednesday, where they can post what's going on in the community. You can say, hey, I don't really feel like I know my neighbors. Tell me what business you're in and how we can help you. Like you can create content that just goes week after week. And it doesn't have to be every day in a group like that. And ideally the group gets going that people that are engaged in the group can create the content. And you can just be a quick moderator for it. And actually Facebook groups have gotten really good. They have AI moderators now. So my group with 9,400 people, it knows who to let in and who not. It knows what type of content, like it has learned. And I rarely even go over there anymore unless I want to post something about real estate.
Awesome. Thank you.
So well worth nurturing.
I have a question for both probably Samantha and Jessica. Do you think that in a rural community like Jessica and I live in, that maybe the Facebook groups is a better way to connect than the farming?
I mean, you can use farming to get people into the groups, right? Wouldn't it make sense to go take an invite or mail an invite to the group? And here's the thing, even though we went door to door with a scan code to join Facebook, not one lady said to me, oh, I'm not on Facebook. I can't help everyone, right? I can't get everyone there. And we're gonna have to do it multiple times. Like Christy's putting it on the card that she's mailing out about stats, like continue the conversation in our Facebook group with a scan code. You have to always be inviting, always have a reason to be connecting with people. So I don't, from a rural standpoint, I think it's maybe a little easier to mail, but if there's an area where there's 3 or 4 homes, if you have the thing to invite, and here's the reality is somebody else could go start a Facebook group in Old Waterford Knolls and they could name it Old Waterford Knoll Better Neighbors, and they could run a better group than me, and then they could take the business. Just like somebody else could do a better postcard or a better newsletter. Like we don't have territories really. We have areas that we build our business in, and you're going to gain the business by being the person they thought of when they went to make a decision.
Yeah, thank you.
Feel like frustrated with realtors, but I've been able to attract that are kind of like me. And so I kind of feel like doing the Waterford Knoll, you know, really Valerie wouldn't know about that. So, and I wouldn't know about areas that Valerie is in. So I feel like the hyper local is gonna be the ticket this year.
Well, and if I think about it, of course I want the listings in that area, but you guys are out on the 81 corridor. Who's moving to the 81 corridor? I would create a group of, I'm considering moving west. Tell me everything I need to know. And then I would market that to, you know, Leesburg and East.
Yeah.
You can create groups based on what is happening or who you're trying to curate.
Yeah. I feel like the bigger groups for me is a little bit more exhausting because I feel like I have to go and pick and choose like a wide range of things. And then whereas the hyper local, I love your idea where you said the garden swap. I know all of my neighbors here would like eat that up. Just to even like a seed exchange in my neighborhood would be so much fun in the winter.
Yeah, and it can be a short-term group. It can be a group that just goes for that season. And then you revive it next season. You don't have to keep groups going year round. Which ones did you guys like? The first,
Sam,
third, fourth? Yeah.
somebody asked if you would share, I don't know, I guess maybe via email or however, the 8-week plan.
Yes.
Detail on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Ton posted a link to our Facebook group, which will have it in there with complete training and more resources. I think you guys at Vesta probably have the majority of the email list if you all registered through Eventbrite, but yes, we can get that information out. We're happy to be a continued resource for you. We know the more successful you are, the more successful we all are.
Thank you.
You have a link for the prompts, the writing prompts. I know that I already have the materials link, but for your farming, do you have the Google Doc that you're able to share with us?
Yeah, I'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? I have to say, you know, had we all ventured out to DAR, the amount of hours we would have given, how thankful I am to have Zoom and this option, especially on a snow day. I'm glad you guys are all home safe. I love that we have channels like this to stay connected. Turning you all into best friends through all of our different social media channels. I had said to an agent yesterday, I had to kind of apologize and say, when you get to know me, you end up just connecting with me more in a day than you do with your spouse. So I'm sorry. Apologize to your spouse now. Val's laughing. She's like, you're right. So,
True.
yeah. So always happy to continue the conversation and be of added support in any way I can. Yeah,
Thanks for pivoting, Sam. We appreciate it very much.
absolutely. Thank you for hosting.
And Sam, thank you again for just giving us all this knowledge. I think, no matter how many classes, we take on farming, I just found, I mean, myself personally, so many great ideas that I can kind of implement into my business, here on the title side. So I think everyone came away with something, and I'm just, incredibly excited for what all of us are going to do in 2024. And again, I know in the messages, a lot of you were asking questions, so we will of course make sure that Sam has your contact information. And then make sure to like and follow on social.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time. So fun to see so many familiar faces.
Yep. Stay safe, everyone, today.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Go sell some houses. Go list some houses.
Drive safe. Yeah, build some houses too.
Yeah, all the things.
All the things. Thank you, Peter. Okay.
All right, all done?
All done. Okay, I'm gonna stop.